Welcome to iLecture Now let's try a second order circuit that contains an operational amplifier. So here's a nice little example that we'll work through, and notice I've already put everything on the board because all these subscripts get kind of confusing, so we'll work through it very carefully. But notice in the circuit we have a voltage source that puts out 10 millivolts at t equals 0. We have two resistors, each of 10,000 ohms. We have a branch point here that goes to a capacitor, that's a 100 microfarad capacitor, and then we have a branch point here where we go through a 20 microfarad capacitor back to ground, the operational amplifier, and then we have the output voltage here. So the way we're going to try to solve that is by using the two nodes, node 1 and node 2. Notice I've indicated the currents I1, I2, I3, and I4. Okay, first of all, at node 1, the incoming current is I1, the two outgoing currents are I2 and I3. So I1 can be determined by taking the voltage drop across this resistor, which is the source voltage minus V1, divided by the resistor R1. I2 can be determined by taking the voltage difference between those two, so V1 minus the voltage here. Now notice that the voltage here, it's connected to the operational amplifier. The voltage difference between these two is essentially 0, and this is connected to the output voltage. So this is essentially the output voltage, so V1 minus the output voltage divided by R2 is the current through there. And finally, the current through the capacitor up here, that can be determined by taking the capacitance and multiplying times the change of the voltage with respect to time, and notice that V2 is across that capacitor. So now we have node 1 determined. The equation we get at node 2 is we have an in voltage and an out voltage. The voltage to the operational amplifier is essentially 0. Okay, so what we can then say is that I2 is equal to I4. I2 again will be the voltage difference here, which is V1 minus the output voltage divided by R2. The voltage across here from there to there is going to be the capacitor times the change in the voltage, the current through the capacitor is the capacitance times the change of the voltage with respect to time. In that case, that will be the voltage of the output voltage. Remember that this is essentially the same as this voltage, which is the output voltage, so it's the output voltage down to ground, and that would then be the change in the output voltage with respect to time. So now notice that this is equal to this, so we can then substitute that in here and replace this by C1 times the derivative with respect to time of the output voltage. So we simply took this and replaced it. So now we have a nice equation that only has the output voltage. Well, we have the output voltage, V1 and V2. Essentially what we're trying to do here is get rid of all the V1s and the V2s somehow by looking at all the other equations. So if we go up here, notice what we can do. We can multiply both sides by R2. So that's the R2 goes over here. And then we can move the minus V to the other side, and V1 is equal to V, the output voltage, plus R2 C1 times the derivative of the output voltage. And then if we take the derivative of both sides, we get the first derivative of V1 equals the first derivative of the output voltage plus R2 C1 times the second derivative of the output voltage. All right, another thing that we can do is we can take the derivative of V2 with respect to time and replace it. How can we do that? By going over here. Notice we could say that V2, which is over here, which is the voltage right here, is equal to this voltage minus the output voltage. So V1 minus the output voltage is equal to V2. So then, what we can do is we take the derivative of both sides. The derivative of V2 is equal to the derivative of V1 minus the derivative of the output voltage. So this derivative of V2 can be replaced by the derivative of V1 minus the derivative of the output voltage. And of course, both of those are multiplied times C2. So now we've gotten rid of V2 in the equation. The next thing to do is to get rid of V1 in the equation. So what we can do is we can take dV1 dt, the derivative of V1 with respect to time, and replace it by this. Notice both cases we have only the output voltage, no longer the V1. So we replace this by this. We multiply R1 C2 by this to get this, and we're multiplying R1 C2 times R2 C1, and so we end up with R1, R2, C1, C2 times the second derivative of the output voltage with respect to time. So essentially, what we did was we took this and replaced it by this and put it in here. And then if you notice carefully, notice that R1 C2 times the derivative of the output voltage is equal to R1 C2 times the derivative of the output voltage, except this is positive and this is negative, so both terms cancel. Over here we made another substitution. Notice that V1 can be replaced by this. Notice that V1 is defined as the output voltage plus R2C1 times the derivative of the output voltage. So V1 was replaced by the output voltage plus R1C1. Oh, that would be R2. R2C1. R2C1 times the derivative of the output voltage. Okay, so far so good. So these are canceled. Now notice we have the first derivative of the output voltage here and here. Here we have an R2C1 and an R2C1. So that becomes R2C1 plus R2C1 times the derivative of the output voltage with respect to time. That's over here. And here we have R1, R2, C1, C2 times the second derivative, which is over here. These two are combined, and we have the output voltage. And then if we plug in the values for R1 and R2, right here, and C1 and C2, notice that R2 times C1, well, that becomes 0.2. R2, C1 becomes 0.2 together is 0.4. Multiply these all together, that gives us 0.2. And then if we multiply everything by 5 to get rid of the decimals, we end up with 5 times the source voltage is equal to the second derivative of the output voltage plus twice the first derivative of the output voltage plus 5 times the output voltage. And now we have a differential equation with only the output voltage, which is exactly what we want. So here's the characteristic equation by setting the source voltage to 0 to just get the transient response. We solve the characteristic equation, so we end up with minus 1 plus or minus j2. Notice we get minus 16 on the radical. The square root of that is 4. Divide by 2, or 4j. Divide by 2, we get 2j, and it's plus or minus. So we realize we have an underdamped case because alpha is smaller than omega sub naught. So that means that this is the general equation. A times the cosine of the damped oscillations, which can be obtained by taking the square root of this and dividing by 2. And B times the sine of that times e to the minus t. Remember that the minus t here came from right here, the alpha, so e to the minus alpha. And then finally we noted that if t goes to infinity, when a long amount of time has gone by, what happens here? So the source voltage pushes current through the circuit. Eventually this capacitor will fill up and this capacitor will fill up. Once these capacitors fill up, there will be no more current through the resistors and no longer any voltage drops across the resistor, which means that the voltage over here will be the same as the source voltage and the voltage over here will be the same as the output voltage, which means at that point the output voltage will equal the source voltage and it will be equal to 10 millivolts. So in the end, the output voltage will be 10 millivolts. But we still don't have the equation yet for the source for the output voltage. So we need an equation that tells us what the output voltage is as a function of time, which means we're going to need to solve for A and B, and we're going to have to find an equation that tells us what the initial voltage is and what the initial derivative of the voltage is when time is equal to 0. So for that, of course, we need part 2. Since I'm out of board space, we'll go ahead and set back up again, and we'll solve the rest of the problem using part 2 in the next video. And that is how it's done.